Well, I don't think I've had that experience that some people have, that now that I can't see, I can really see, or, now that I can't hear, I can really hear. It hasn't been like that, Hearing and seeing are huge gifts, and I'm watching their diminishment. But I absolutely, moment by moment, re-experience that there is no diminishment of what I would call intelligence. None. And to me, that is like so awesome. How can it be? I mean, even with memory loss, with vision loss, with hearing loss, with mobility loss, there is no loss of intelligence. That might be another word for soul. I'd like to share with you what happened to me on my 60th birthday, when I was still so young and feeling depressed. And I said to myself, why am I feeling depressed? And so I took a walk on a ditch bank in Albuquerque. Beautiful day. Beautiful October day. Blue sky. White clouds. And as soon as I stepped onto this dirt path that goes along the clear ditch, that's reflecting the sky and the clouds and the autumn leaves, as soon as I stepped onto it, I thought, I know why I'm sad. I'm dying. I said to myself, ever since I was little, 60 years old. So any way you look at it, I'm now at the dying end of my life. And that's why I'm sad. And I really like the idea of being sad. I didn't fight it. The minute I was sad, and the minute I realized I was dying, there was this incredible transformation that happened to my experience. It wasn't like a belief. I suddenly could not stop loving the world. It just felt as though death was here it was autumn. Death was part of life, and life was part of death, and it was all just now. In fact, I think those were the words that came to me. 1,000 people have said them before. There's nothing ever missing in present time. Now is complete. I was so in love. I was kissing every flower and every weed. What I wish for my poems to accomplish in a reader or listener is the effect that Emily Dickinson wrote about long ago, or I guess, yes, she wrote this, that the test for her of a poem is that it makes her hair stand on end. And what's curious is that recent scientific research has shown that that is literally happening for people in the presence of a poem that, I want to say, a poem that's really a poem. Because there's a lot of poetry out there that I don't think qualifies as poetry in that sense that Dickinson is talking about it. So the scientific research indicates that in moving poems, in great poems, in memorable poems, there is an effect on the brain, which really means the whole brain system, including every part of the body, that is measurable. And they've created a new instrument for measuring that they call the goosegam, Goosegam, because it can measure the goosebumps that are being created on the skin. So that's what I would wish for. In my poems, yeah. I am thinking about everything. But one of the most huge things that I don't, it's hard to even say I'm thinking about it because it takes over my thinking at night, much more at night. In daytime, I often manage my thinking and I allow my thinking, I guide my thinking. Kind of in a Mary Oliver direction where she says, my work is loving the world. And in that wonderful poem called The Messenger, she says, she says, I'm dealing with all this stuff, but let me keep my mind on my work, which is loving the world. So I would say during the day, I do a pretty good job of keeping my mind on my work. And what I'm thinking about is guided by keeping my mind on my work. At night, my mind seems to want to go to the despair. And so one of the things I've allowed to happen at night is I have a book I made called 45 Memorized Poems to Dance Me Through the Dark. I made it for myself and my family. And these 45 memorized poems are all poems that would pass the Goose Gam test, I'm quite sure. But there's one in there by Emily Dickinson that has 2 lines in it that combine bliss and despair. And she does that more powerfully than any poet I know. So I can lie in bed and I can say, one blessing have I than the rest, so larger to my eyes, that I stopped gauging, satisfied with this enchanted size. It was the limit of my dreams, the focus of my prayer, and here are the 2 lines. A perfect, paralyzing bliss, contented as despair. I want to say only Emily Dickinson can do that.
No, you do it too.
So to bring the word contentment to despair is very necessary now, I find, that I can keep my mind on my work all day. But I don't think Mary Oliver incorporates despair quite as uniquely and amazingly as Emily Dickinson. Most people see her poem, I Heard a Fly Buzz When I Died, as a bit depressing. But my feeling is when she gets to the end of that poem and says, and then it was, there intervened a fly with blue, uncertain, stumbling buzz between the light and me. And then the windows failed, and then I could not see to see. I have a feeling of great uplift. That fly with its blue, uncertain, stumbling buzz, I think is just fine, just fine. First of all, I'd give them a copy of Rilke's book, Letters to a Young Poet. I think, in fact, I do give that to almost every young person I know. Letters to a Young Poet. It says it all. But, you know, among other things, what he says is don't write unless you can't not write. But the other half of that is you'll never be able to not write. I mean, that's what William Stafford, I think, or somebody said, the question isn't like, when did you start writing? It was, when did you stop writing? When did you stop writing? Because when you're little, all you want to do is write. Right. So just keep it going. It will come. The muse is there. It will come. That's what I would say.